like this.
I'm wondering why.
Yeah. Now you're here to learn. It's all because of the ultimatum that was issued to the Zulu king on the 11th of December 1878 by the man called Sir Henry Barclay Frere, the British High Commissioner in South Africa. Why the ultimatum was issued? On the 1st of September 1873, the Zulu king, by the name of His Majesty King Cetshwayo, mounted the Zulu throne. He was crowned by the British government of Natal. There was a man called Sir Theophilus Shefton. He came all the way from Pietermaritzburg, Natal, to crown the Zulu king, therefore putting those impossible conditions for the Zulu king. When he crowns him, he simply says, the man is carrying a toy stick. He says not to the Zulu king, well, today you become a Zulu king, but on behalf of the crown, you are going to make sure that there's no bloodshed in Zululand. No bloodshed on the other side on our territory, Natal. Therefore, putting the golden crown on top of the Zulu king's head. Take the stuff now with them back home. Well, King Cetshwayo, the Zulu king, finds himself now squeezed in a corner, having no choice but to accept these conditions, but not from here. Why? Different cultures, different religions, different traditions, and even different justice systems. It's not going to work. 1st of September 1873, King Cetshwayo is in power. All the eyes in Zululand under the new administration, whether it's going to deliver or not. King Cetshwayo mounted the Zulu throne. He began to say, okay, you know what? I'm a king of the Zulus. Nobody is going to tell me what to do here in Zululand. This is my father's kingdom. I'm not going to change. Meaning that they got it wrong. In short, King Cetshwayo made himself quite unpopular to the British government of Natal by now restoring all of these old traditions. Among these, there was a very famous one, best known as the washing of the spears. It meant, among other things, as a warrior, you've got to join the army. Although part of this now be voluntary, but you've been encouraged now to join the army. You are very loyal. You look after the Zulu kingdom on behalf of the king. Having joined the army, you are not allowed to get married before the age of 30 or 35. You've got to wait. You've got to get a permission. You can't just wake up and do it. You need to get a permission from your superiors. Therefore, prior to this, your job is to go out and capture cattle from the neighboring clans. That was the only way to build what they call the royal wealth, through capturing, not to be confused with thieving. No, because it happens at daylight, you know. No, it's a Zulu way of life. No problems. Then part of this, their job is to build the chiefs' courts. They try to keep them closer to the chiefs because the ordinary chiefs, they attend those regular meetings with the king. So they come back with a word from the king. What's going to happen? Part of this, King Cetshwayo raised or introduced 3 female regiments. Not for fighting, they don't carry any weapons. But their job is to go out, they collect water and wood for cooking. They look after, they serve those men. Some of them will be part of the king's council. This is their job, to provide those services, cooking, collecting water for them. Those regiments, namely, we talk about Indu, Istimane, and Tukutugela. This is somewhere in 1876. They were not allowed to marry some of these youngsters at the same age. They've got to marry the old ones, those who come out of the army. That's when we had some problems later on between different regiments over their girlfriends. Yeah. So here, ladies and gentlemen, the British were trying to do away with what they call the Zulu old order. From King Shaka, the father and the founder of the Zulu nation, 1816 up until 1828. King Shaka is in power, raiding all these small neighboring clans, putting them under his control. That was the rise of the Zulu nation. The name Zulu. Zulu means heaven. Well, the people from the heaven. Nowhere else, but from there. Zulu people. So when they crowned him, they think now they do away with the old order because they thought lots of killings, sometimes maybe for no reasons, quite unnecessary. So they do away with this. Well, they get it wrong. King Cetshwayo says, no, I'm not going to change. I'm going to rule them according to my ancestors. Therefore, we've got people like your missionaries. They are here trying to do their job at the wrong time. Who cares? Who cares? We don't care. So the poor missionaries, they came here at the wrong time. they try to approach these Zulus saying, why the hell do you dress up like this? What the hell are you carrying these weapons for? Throw them away. Then as a Zulu warrior, you say, no.
If you are, I cannot change.
No. Then you say, okay, they tell us to throw our weapons away. They want to steal our cattle. Or else they want to steal our kingdom. We must be very, very careful. These people are very, very dangerous people. The poor missionaries were also confused with the spies. They are walking around here searching for something to spread into Natal, you know. It's a lack of communications. And those mission stations dotting the whole of the Zulu kingdom, there were already more than 21 of them, between the Anglicans and the Lutherans. Those two were confused with military establishments. Oh, it looks like we're being surrounded. They are going to keep the army there to invade our kingdom. We must be very careful. You can see lots of them. Mission stations. So they think we're being surrounded. It's all because of the lack of communications. They were here to do their job at the wrong time, even to the wrong people. Zulus, they've got their own religion. They simply go into the Celtic Crawl. They walk around inside the Celtic Crawl. They talk to their ancestors. They believe ancestors take it further to him. They can't change. But King Kaja's father, King Banda, who died in 1872, built strong relations with the missionaries, became a very close friend with the Bishop Struder, who was one of the Lutheran mission stations. And King Banda ends up now having a big problem of obesity. This big. Not this big, but this big. No, I can't break this thing. Therefore, the Zulu king couldn't move, he won't be seen in public. Therefore, Bishop Struder sympathized with the Zulu king, provides him with a wheelchair, so that he'll be able to move around, you know. Therefore, in exchange, the Zulu king granted him a permission to build the very first church in Zululand. Just saying thank you. You can have this piece of ground, yeah, to graze your cattle. Yeah. And what I must say, Bishop Struder built the very first church in Zululand. That church will be called the place of the light, Egukanyeni, the place of the light, meaning that the missionaries are here to bring more light to the lives of the Zulus. Today I've got a school there that was built in 1852. Still there's a school standing on the same ground where that church stood. Meaning that the poor missionaries were here to do their job at the wrong time, but not bad things. Because in Africa, they managed to build some of the schools and clinics. Those hospitals, and they saved lots of lives. Those schools produced top leaders in Africa, not only here in Zululand. It was just the lack of communications in those days. Well, throughout the Zulu kingdom, there are lots of incidents whereby those people committing serious crimes, they get killed openly. Adultery, stock theft, witchcraft, those are always grouped as top crimes punishable by death. Not today. No. Not today. We're part of the UN. Try to respect. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. Can't do the Zulu way, you know. Can't do that anymore. Well, I'm just touching those, points, just to give you a picture of what was going on after King Kajaw mounted the Zulu throne. And around this time, there is a disputed territory between the Zulus and the Boers. That piece of ground was granted to the Boers by King Kajaw's father long after this now, long before, and somewhere in 1840, because of their help against his brother called King Dingaan of Blood River fame. And Mpande fought against Dingaan. And Dingaan was defeated because Mpande had a strong support from the Boers, which is why later on he gave them that piece of ground, about 50 square miles. But it was only given to them only for grazing purposes. No papers. What happens? Mpande dies in 1872, having not been able to claim that piece of ground from the Boers. And he dies in 1872. His son takes over. He knows the story very well, which is why in 1875, King Kajaw sent his representatives to negotiate with the Boers, trying to get that piece of ground out of their hands. What happens? The Boers, they hit very hard with the ground, saying, never again. You are not going to get it. It's ours. We fought for this. We got this from your father. Lots of tensions between the two. Therefore, the British in Natal were watching what's going on. Very, very careful. They were very concerned that if something happens, the war breaks out between the two, the British to Natal be involved. At the same time, the second Afghan war was already underway. They won't be able to fight in the two fronts at the same time. And as a result, the matter remains unresolved up until September of 1876, whereby the man called Sir Theophilus Shafton, he goes to England to attend a very, very big conference, which is about confederation. Confederation has been thought to be the only solution for the problems facing this country, had been tried successfully in Canada in 1867. So 1867 in Canada. So having applied this in Canada, they thought would be the same also in South Africa, would be applied as well. They got it wrong. Why? In Canada they don't have different clans with different opinions. Here, the other way around. Therefore, Shafton, having been to that conference, the man was given what they call the Royal Charter, which then gave him more and more powers to annex each and every territory within the British colonies, provided he gets enough support from those living in those territories. But remember, the British controlled only two here as their colonies, the Cape and Natal, whereby two of them remained as the Boer republics, the Orange Free State and Transvaal. Here's the problem in between. In the early 1850s, the discovery of gold and diamonds within these Boer republics. These attracts many of these people in search of work, only as fortune hunters, having no idea about any political situation. Therefore, by the end of 1876, Shafton returns from England. When he gets back here, did not waste his time. He marched up to Transvaal to annex the whole of Transvaal. Annexation of Transvaal happens in April of 1877. It goes terribly wrong. It then triggers off lots of tensions between the Zulus, the British, the Boers, and the Pedi people. Therefore, the situation in the country was totally out of hand. What happens? The colonial office in London, they receive lots of reports from here. They keep coming day and night. So they end up having what you call sleepless nights. I think as they do today. Yeah, because the man in the US gives everybody lots of headaches. Yeah, lots of sleepless nights. What to do? What have we done? Therefore, what they thought to do was to send the man called Sir Henry Barclay out here only to negotiate with the Zulus, not to start the war. Because of Afghanistan, what's going on in Afghanistan. Sir Barclay came from Khanekli. Anybody from Khanekli in South Wales? Anybody from? You know where it is?
I know where it is.
I was born from. I've been there. I've been to Khanekli, yeah. I was born from there. Anyways, that's where Sir Barclay came from. So when the man was sent out here, he was accompanied by the professor from the University of Oxford in the name of James Froude. So James is a professor. He's got a vast knowledge about confederation policies. He was out here to advise the Cape and Natalis to how to apply these policies correctly. Sir Barclay, he was told again, do not start another war right now because our troops are out in Afghanistan. We won't be able to fight in the two fronts at the same time. That will be very difficult for the British Exchequer. There were two reasons. Yeah, they were very, very careful. Sir Barclay came out here, became the Cape governor when he came out here for the first time. That was in March of 1878. So later on in September, he marches up to Transvaal. He's trying to meet with the Boers, sitting down with them, trying to convince them to accept confederation. But most unfortunately, they don't like it. You know, the typical race here. We call them stiff-necked people. When they go, they go. Yeah. So they say, no. And he came down to Pietermaritzburg, Natal. In Natal, that's where he met up with the Natal administration, led by the man called Sir Henry Bula. Bula is the governor of Natal. Right now, Henry Bula himself has got lots of headaches, you know, since King Kajayo mounted the Zulu throne. There's lots of stuff now going on in Zululand, yeah, across the river. As they are sitting around the table, they are trying to update Sir Barclay to what's going on here. Otherwise, the man is very, very new. He doesn't know what's going on here. So what they put to his attention, they say, you know what? It looks like we made a big mistake by crowning the Zulu king across the river. Right now, he keeps such a big army. They seem to be a very, very serious threat to the safety of the crown and the citizens. Therefore, confederation will never happen in the presence of such a great army. There is a need to do away with them. The only way to do this successfully is by means of delivering an impossible ultimatum to their king. Failure to comply with that would be in a good position to invade him. We know him. That's why the Zulu king is just a coward. As soon as he can see the British troops, he's going to surrender. This is something we're going to achieve by ourselves. We don't even need any support from home. What a big risk. And on top of this now, they tell him about the noise, tensions between the Zulus and the Boers over that piece of ground being disputed, in which they suggested that the only way to resolve that is by means of appointing an independent boundary commission to look into the matter. Sir Bartley Frere, at the end of the day, he gets easily convinced. He jumps the guns, exceeding the powers he was given by the home government. He says, no, it's fine, let's do it, why not? The boundary commission will be assembled. It is going to sit on a farm called Rocks Drift Farm, chaired by the man called Michael Galloway, assisted by two men. One of them is a man called John O'Sullivan. Another one is a man called William Anton Danford from the Royal Engineers. He's an Irishman. He dies at San Juan. It was sometimes known as a three-man commission or a 5-week commission. Zulus and the Boers were all invited to come forward, making their own submissions. The Zulus were represented by the man called Mnyamana. Mnyamana is the Prime Minister and the King Tshaya, and he's the grandfather of the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. You know that name? Prince Buthelezi? Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi in the UK. Very, very famous. I can tell you, you know him. Do you know Film Zulu?
Yeah.
He plays King Tshaya there. In the beginning, you put it on, you can see somebody sitting there with the leopard skin, yeah? Yeah. It's him. He's just passed away in 2022. You know him. He used to come quite often in the UK, yeah. Anyway, he's been the Prime Minister of the Zulu nation. And I'm quite aware right now our king is in the UK. The new Zulu king. He's in the UK as you're here. Yeah. Anyway, what happens now? They came to make their own submissions, telling the side of the story. 5 weeks later, the Boundary Commission's report was now ready and available, but most unfortunately, it had found in favor of the Zulu King's claim. King Tshaya wins the case. He was correct. He was correct. So when the report was forwarded in Peter Maritzburg to Sir Bartley Frere, the man received this now with a great shock. Ooh, I've got bad news. I've got bad news. We should not allow the Zulu King and his people to have an access to this information. Let's keep it a secret. These are the British for you. They are playing the cards. They are now playing the cards. What they do, they tell the Zulu King, Tshaya, please be patient. The Boundary Commission should be taken back to England to be considered by the home government. King Tshaya, they say, okay, whenever we're ready, we'll let you know. He says, not suspecting anything. He says, no, whenever we're ready, let me know. Only find that they are watching. They are keeping an eye as to what